Hel- Hello and welcome to the Division 1 final between Sentinel Gaming and Ferocity Red. I am Ty Celtic Tiger Brown, and alongside me is Dan Arvil Fontos, and we're looking forward to a pretty big best of 5 series.
We're looking for one indeed between Ferocity Red and I believe Sentinel Gaming, who has formerly been known as Panda Peanut Butter. But this time around, with Boosh being a bit late to show up, I believe they did not have the essential time to discuss strategies they're going to be going with into the game. So I'm looking forward to see if they have some sort of special bans they have reserved for their enemies. Because right now, the only target ban I see is Karma, but the other generic bans are just flying all over the place, mostly targeted at the top lane.
Yeah, and we also see the Nidalee, of course, for XJ. Again, the kind of main champion he goes with in the jungle and can put down a lot of early pressure, as you said, so it is something that is in meta. Whereas, of course, the Karma, not so much, but he is a very, very scary Karma in that top lane, so they do decide to get rid of it. On the other side, we see very targeted bans towards the top lane, and then the Kog'Maw, because they don't want to play it themselves, and they're not comfortable giving it to Sonic.
So essentially, 4 out of 6 bans have been targeted at the top lane, and then you get rid of a Kog'Maw, which is like based on what the tactics these two teams have been using so far, the pile on top of each other, team fight compositions, Kog'Maw would really benefit from that because you really want the enemy team to move towards you when you're Kog'Maw. When you are forced to chase the enemy team, your attack speed, even though it's 5.0 per second, it really doesn't count if you constantly have to chase up the enemy. And now that Kog'Maw is banned, the first pick is Lucian.
On top of that, Sonic has been a pretty dominating Lucian in a lot of the lanes, so getting rid of that for Sonic there is pretty important for Ferocity, even if Astaroth isn't necessarily as comfortable on the Lucian as perhaps some of his safer AD carries like the Caitlyn and Ezreal. It should still work for them as Lucian is a lane bully. It depends what they decide to lane with in terms of the support. We know that Hustlin's probably going to pick that Thresh or maybe that Janna as well, so maybe shouldn't be too aggressive a lane now that the Lucian's taken away.
In terms of AD carries, this championship so far we really have seen only 4: Kalista, Lucian, Kog'Maw, and maybe the Corki. The Corki being picked up as well. Of course, Corki is a flex pick, could go potentially to the mid position or be an AD carry as well, just to counter the Lucian. So right now, Sentinel is not really showing anything outside of their jungle Elise pickup. I'm expecting a Gragas to be on the other side, honestly.
And that's actually the matchup we saw last time with NSG and Ferocity. And we also saw when Sentinel were facing off against Team Untitled, they picked up that Corki early on and then threw it into the mid lane for Coco Pops. So we saw it work out exceptionally well for him against the Lulu. So would not be surprised to see that go in the mid lane and expect Sonic to pick up something like the Ezreal, because then you have a really strong double marksman comp. Pretty much the original double marksman comp that came out when the preseason even hit for the pros, because of course it's so strong in terms of poke and team fighting. Would expect to see it again, and of course Elliot picking up that Elise early has been pretty much priority picking it as soon as it's up, and hasn't necessarily needed to be a big playmaker for his team, but has been able to facilitate his team carrying.
So in terms of supports, disengaged champions once again just dominate the scene and the meta right now. And one of the prime examples was Braum, who combines really well with the Lucian on the bottom lane. So if a Thresh would be picked up, I'm a bit surprised to see Thresh just being played into this matchup, because even if the Elise comes, you're going to have a really hard time. Thresh should realistically be looking to position in fights constantly to save someone, not necessarily to engage himself, because you want the Nautilus and the packaged up Corki to do that for you and just save anyone who would be threatened by the 4 stacks of the Braum passive to get lanterned out of the team fight. The question still is, are they running an AD carry, or Corki is going to be the AD carry and they just want to counter the mid pick by not picking it up that up right now?
And that's the benefit of leaving that kind of ambiguity for your 5th pick. What they have given away, though, is that they are going to put that Nautilus in the top lane. Nautilus top has been a huge pick, not so much in this tournament, but in general for a lot of pros and in the solo queue as well. It has been pretty dominating. However, picking it without knowing your matchup could potentially be dangerous, as they do pick the Fiora into it. I was going to say the Trundle as well can be a pretty bad matchup for it. We'll see what Boosh can do with it. It'll have to play pretty far back from the Fiora, but could still do a lot for his team using that Zerat portal.
In exchange, though, Stark is forced to pick up a mid laner blind, kind of. So he opts in to go for the LeBlanc. I'm really interested to see because Sentinel, I believe, should not be sending the Corki to face the LeBlanc on the mid lane. It's once again a skill matchup, and even though Coco Pops has showed that his efficiency on the Corki, I would still prefer seeing it as an AD carry and just go for something AD based because you're already extremely magic damage heavy. Corki is the AD carry whose half of his damage is already magic, and then you have it paired with an Elise and a Nautilus. You really need something attack damage heavy on the mid lane, but apparently it's going to remain a Brand. That's a first.
Yeah, and it actually looks like that's going to go to the mid lane as well for Coco Pops. But this is what I was going to say as you were saying that Coco Pops' champion pool doesn't really have many AD heavy matchups. He's not an assassin player. He likes to play those zone control mages like the Victor, the Lulu, the Orianna that can facilitate things like the AD carrying, and of course top lane. And we are actually going to take a quick break after this game. Fred, someone has gotten ill, so we will take a short pause to ensure that they can be subbed out and everything runs perfectly normal from there.
So taking a look at both of these compositions, Ferocity once again is going to try to go for the split push. In the LeBlanc and the Gragas, you have really heavy pick compositions that can stall for ages because the mobility is extreme on the side of Ferocity as well. In Brand and Nautilus, you have more sluggish champions on the side of Sentinel, but they have an extreme amount of engage tools, and there's no real option on the side of Ferocity to dodge out of these engages either, because they really have to send the Braum to try and soak up everything. Otherwise, especially the depth charge, is going to be devastating if it gets onto a Lucian or onto a LeBlanc.
Yeah, the team fighting from Sentinel is pretty heavy, but we are going to take a quick break now. We'll come back to you as soon as possible, as soon as we get this sub sorted. Thank you. And we are back with this Sentinel versus Ferocity game. A substitution had to be made for Hustling. He is unfortunately unwell, so it is going to be Muki in this bot lane. And we'll see how that goes. Not a big Thresh player, but again, could go well for them. Sonic has been pretty domineering in a lot of these lanes, specifically against Ferocity before as well. We'll see what they can do with this new player in the ranks.
As per the discussion that we had while the break was on, the lane I'm most interested in is the mid lane. I'm fairly interested in just to see what Coco Pops is going to max in terms of his abilities, because I believe if he doesn't go for Incinerate, he doesn't really have a chance to trade efficiently with Stark. And we can see both of the teams just line up completely at all the jungle entrances. They really don't want anything to be going on level 1, because you really don't want Nautilus to start Q either. And if you don't start Q on the Nautilus, you don't have any form of CC on level 1 either.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fairly standard start from Sentinel. No big plays being made in this early game for them. Maybe some early rotations from them with that Nautilus. Again, I'll be interested to see what Nautilus picks up, because this isn't one of the better matchups for me. It is a big pick, but Fiora is one of the really good picks to go against it, and can become this massive split-pushing threat that can deal with him even when he builds Portal. I'll be interested to see if he does go for that Portal, or maybe he rushes that Sunfire for those combat stats. It all depends on how Voosh wants to play the lane.
So Coco Pops has the Deathfire touch while Stark is running Thunderlord's Decree, which is gonna result in fairly hectic changes, I believe. I would have said that LeBlanc just won the level 1 trade as well, but the moment Brand gets to turn around with a W and actually lands it, he seems to profit just much more off of it. Both of these mid laners have now consumed their first cookie.
Yeah, and it's because Brand's passive also applies Deathfire touch, so it just continues this turn, and it does whittle you down fairly quickly, and it's why Brand was actually a big support at the start. And actually, decent trade to this top lane thus far. Again, Fiora should be able to win these out with good Vital Shock, but it's actually going to be Nautilus attempting to go for the kill. Both so low. Sizzle could go down here, and he does. First blood over to Nautilus, and this matchup that should be Fiora favored, immediately turning in Voosh's favor.
That's a really bad flash from the Fiora because she stopped mid auto attack, not willing to use the flash to get onto another vital, which I believe could have resulted in the kill onto Zizzle. This way, Boosh should be able to do something here.
Return kill here, although Zizzle is sitting in the middle of minions, gonna try hook in. Zizzle's so low again. Boosh almost returns the kill straight after the TP can back now and has this huge lead in lane again.
Well, Boosh doesn't really have the lane dominance just now. He sure got the 400 gold off of the first blood, but right now there's a huge wave pushing in towards the turret of Fiora, and if she plays this well, Boosh will have the teleport available, but has nothing to do for the following 3 minutes top lane.
Interestingly, he's going for combat stats in that Dark Seal. It also does extend the effectiveness of that Corrupting Potion. That is the passive, probably lesser known in the Dark Seal. People more know it for the fact it is like a mini Mage Eyes, but it will give him good trading in terms of AP. We'll see if he continues towards that AP route, or if it's something like the Malphite he played in yesterday's game, and he just sits on that for AP and then goes for tankiness.
So this is the trade-off on the side of Boosh. If you want to trade efficiently, or if you want to trade at all with the Fiora, you are forced to constantly wave clear.
But it's actually Elliot caught out here. This is him going down. Kappa and Jake there, but it's going to be Sonic. That's Yuki going in. Kappa's getting a little low here. He's going to use the tap behind me, but doesn't get very far. Has to flash away. Chocobox is already roamed down. Really fast response from the mid lane here. Stark is there, but can't really do much. Might try combo Coco Pops on the way back. Was actually trying to sit in Dragon Pit and go unnoticed. And what looked like a catch for Ferocity almost went terribly for them.
Well, the only gold advantage that Ferocity is facing right now, or disadvantage rather, is still the first blood gold. Nothing else is going too terribly for them, although Boosh still has the teleport. I'm not seeing him make a teleport play on the bot lane either, because Corki and Thresh has been forced under their turret for the past 2 minutes as well, especially because of this trade. Thresh just doesn't have the option to place deep wards.
And you're seeing those riposts as well. Really good trading from Zizzle since he's gone down that first time, but will it be enough at this later stage of the game now that Nautilus has pulled that lead? Good CS advantage for Fiora because she was given that free lane for a little while. We'll see if they can do much with that, because Fiora needs to be able to 1v1 the Nautilus to become an effective split pusher later on.
She constantly needs to be able to do that, because that is Ferocity's prime win condition, and with Elise being so close, I believe Boosh is already looking to dive Zizzle. Elise is already coming in.
And you actually have the depth charge going to be available for Zizzle fairly soon. Elliot spotted out by a good ward from Zizzle there, was expecting something similar, and they do just walk away from it. Gragat's actually around that side if they want to 2v2 this, at least walking up to the lane. Just going to head back to her own jungle though.
So Coco Pops trading fairly efficiently, even though he started maxing the W. It's really good to push Stark completely in, because right now how Brand is winning the trades is by not trading at all, because the AoE fairly often hits the LeBlanc and she cannot reply in any way. Both of these mid laners have no cookies left. The moment Coco Pops lands something with the Ignite, I believe he should be able to pick up a kill from a complete combo onto the LeBlanc.
It looks like that's what he's going to look for. Actually does get Stark and Distortion away, but you see, the big thing for him in terms of trading as well is the fact that Distortion is being used to either jump away from that pillar or wave clear, and realistically at that point LeBlanc doesn't have the trading tools to get on the Brand, so has to really stop using the combo on the wave, which is really difficult when Coco Pops is just constantly pushing him in.
But this is really interesting, because how LeBlanc should facilitate these trades is the moment you see Coco Pops using any ability to try and push the wave in, you just use Distortion onto Coco Pops.
Body slam, but Coco Pops managed to get out, and there's going to be the combo onto him. Takes him down immediately. That's going to be the TP in. That's going to be the depth charge. Well, Stark doesn't have any mana left. That's going to be a trip that going down now, but it's only onto the clone, and he flashes off the clone. There's going to be the ignite onto him, but not enough. Coco Pops going very low. Here's the TP in. Zizzle goes for the flash. Boosh is there. Should be 2 kills for Zizzle. That's going to be the heal up as well. Elliot has no mana left. Stark and Zizzle should be able to clean this up. The chain misses though. Zizzle can continue to chase. Elliot might have flash. Kappa is on this side. Does get the flash off, so doesn't give away 3 kills, but good pickup from Ferocity there. 2 free kills.
That chain would have secured another kill because Elise was not willing to flash away from the chain. If the first part connects, that's a triple onto the Fiora, but Fiora has been fairly efficient without picking up the third kill anyways. The Hex Drinker is already completed to facilitate those trades even further on the top lane, because right now Nautilus cannot finish Bummy's Cinder. So he's losing out on a lot of magic damage while he's constantly trading with a melee range Sizzle. Both of these champions are out of their summoners, out of their ultimates right now, and this way Fiora should have the upper hand.
Yeah, the double kill onto Fiora was huge, and that means that, as we were mentioning before, that really important 1v1 matchup in that top lane should go in her favor and will only be facilitated by the Gragas generally hovering around that top side. Might come bot side now that Fiora can pretty much sustain on her own. We'll see which way they decide to play the map, because if they can get that Lucian ahead, he still is a lane bully. As you said, the Braum synergizes extremely well in that lane. They could try for a good gank there.
We have also seen a mid lane trade, all abilities of LeBlanc landing onto Coco Pops, doing less than 30% damage because LeBlanc was already forced to pick up a Negatron Cloak. She's playing completely defensive while Brand is already working on Lion Tree's Torment. The moment that's finished, you're gonna have the Brand passive, Lion Trees, and the Deathfire Touch. 3 sources of dots. Every single spell that hits an enemy champion, they're just gonna be whittled down slowly and steadily.
Whittling down, just looks like Aserat just gonna whittle down the minion wave, just gonna back off that. Is building towards that Essence Reaver for the mana sustain as well, so again, just needs to be able to trade with this Corki. Once Corki finishes that Triforce though, might be in Sonic's favor again. They haven't really been trying to make any plays in that bot lane, it's just been a farm fest thus far. In the meantime, you're looking at the top lane as the much more aggressive side of this game.
Zizzle has been trading fairly efficiently, utilizing the bonus movement speed from hitting a Vital to dodge the Riptide, and we might see a Grand Challenge coming in.
That's just going to be the depth charge, and Zizzle's going to walk away from it. An important ultimate used, but it's actually Elliot who's here. Grax is waiting on the wings though, and now starting to get a little more creative with his combos now that he has that Mimic up. And getting a little bit more damage down, but as you said, with that Haunting Guide, it doesn't seem to be doing a huge amount to Brand.
Indeed, and Elise has been constantly pinged out. No wonder Gragas has been hovering the top lane, because really you want that Fiora to continue rolling. And based on, like, Bush realistically should not be able to 1v1 Fiora at this point. So when he uses Depth Charge, you know that an Elise is lurking around. So Gragas did a really good job just securing the Fiora not getting dived.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good call from XJ in general. Has matched Elise in pretty much every gank. Earlier we saw Elliot actually manage to match him in that mid lane, which is what got them the early kills, but later on we have seen XJ completely match this Elise and avoid anything snowballing in the top lane, and has, with the Fiora now ahead, has been securing that lead.
So Corki is fairly close to completing his Triforce. In the meantime, Nautilus has also managed to pick up Bummy's Cinder, but in exchange, Fiora already has a Tiamat, which should provide fairly decent wave clear for the Fiora as well. If she chooses to push in when Bush teleports away, Fiora might not necessarily need to follow it up because of all the disengage tools you have on the side of Ferocity. A well-placed Gragas Barrel or Kappa's Fissure.
There. Nobopop's still gonna get a good combo on him. That's gonna be the kill. He now gets the TP in. Dark Hit should be the next going down. Elliot just needs the venomous fight, and he gets it. And it's actually gonna be the hook thrown off. Just gonna jump his way back to that. Excellent trade for Sentinel again.
I believe the word we're looking for is deja vu. This exact scenario happened the last time we have seen Gragas forcing a gank onto the mid lane.
There's actually going to be another force in the bot lane. Kappa going to try to get a trade there, but back off by Sonic means nothing comes of it.
So let's go back to the mid lane exchange. LeBlanc at the time did not have the blasting one. With a combo does not have enough damage to clear Brand completely, even if Gragas body slams and flashes. So what instead ends up happening, Brand gets to shoot everything on both targets. I believe the ultimate bounced 3 times between these key targets. And then Nautilus just teleports in and secures the kill. Brand just picked up a needlessly large rod as well, not going for Lion Tree Storm and straight up, but LeBlanc might be able to do something here.
Looks like Bush might be caught out though. That's going to be the Ethereal Chain, followed by the Grand Challenge. That's a good depth charge, actually knocking both of them. Coco Pops back in here again, is actually holding on to all his abilities, doesn't want anything riposted, gets the hook, and that's going to be the flash.
And this is fairly surprising from the side of Stark, because if you take a look at how the CS goes in the mid lane, you know LeBlanc is playing on the back foot, and this is the 4th time LeBlanc baits her own teammates into doing something fairly reckless, and they just lose summoners all over it again.
Yeah, it's been Coco Pops again with faster roams than Stark, which is very odd considering how a mobile Brand is compared to LeBlanc. LeBlanc known for roams, Brand known for not being picked. And that's basically Coco Pops just making these zone control mages work even when they're out of meta.
So right now Corki is sitting on 1,100 gold. Once Sentinel's bot lane finishes this push, Sonic should be able to finish the Trinity Force, which allows him to be a bit more efficient than the Lucian, who I believe has yet to complete the Essence Reaver himself.
Yeah, but it looks like it's going to be finished item each, and even still, it should probably go in favor of the Corki, but it relies on that Thresh making the play, and it's going to be difficult with that Braum trying to stop it. I think they're better off looking for their leads in these solo lanes, what they have been doing previously, and honestly, more so capitalizing on the misplays of XJ, and it looks like even Kappa's going to get in this solo lane.
Nautilus has stopped to try and clear the boo buff.
It you engage, nothing coming to that, actually just going to be stunned to walk away.
So Nautilus has started to walk towards the mid lane to have the numbers advantage, because right now Fiora has the teleport available, and Nautilus in some way had to react, it just didn't happen. And Fiora right now with the Tiamat should be pushing efficiently enough, but there's just no teamfight threat for Nautilus not to be able to make it back up here. With the blue buff, Push should be able to win every single trade for its duration, because he just has to be patient enough to wait the cooldown of the shields.
Yeah, and he has finished that Sunfire out as well, so trades are starting to turn in his favor, and of course being able to constantly spam, because of course that is not the biggest issue, that his mana costs are fairly high, so it doesn't really matter when you have that blue buff, when you can constantly Riptide, and you can actually see the amount of damage pumping out from that, with that single stack on the Dark Steel is actually enough to still be fairly sore for Zizzle.
And Zizzle is forced to constantly eat the Riptide, otherwise you're gonna get fairly behind in terms of CS compared to the Nautilus, who already managed to pull ahead by more than 10 CS.
That would be a good explosive cast. Comes from force under. He's still not taking the tower yet, and that exit could go down again. You're too close. That's going to be the burn onto him. Stark might get the combo here. The ignite is on him. It should get it, but again, 1 for 1. You need to get out of that Pyroclasm range.
I believe the moment Ethereal Chain hits a minion and does not connect onto the Brand, that's when you turn away. And LeBlanc tried to move away from the Gragas, not allowing one more bounce, but then just moved too close back.
It's actually only Elliot actually able to take this tower alone. Stark forced away because Bush had roamed down, almost caught him out the first time. Dior does get the free push in top, but it's still the CS lead for Nautilus, on top of the fact he's able to put more pressure in the lanes. Fiora's really got to start being either able to 1v1 him or pushing down the towers. Something has got to give for Ferocity.
The problem for Fiora right now is how much Gragas is behind. Because if Elise comes top lane as well, the Nautilus Elise combo should be way stronger than Fiora Gragas, and you just cannot overextend right now on the top lane, which Fiora should be able to pull off, being ahead. But she's fairly not anymore. I believe she has over 2k gold in her pockets. She should be able to finish either Titanic or the other Hydra. Sorry, I'm lost for names here. A bit, but the Titanic Hydra, I believe, should be the one she's looking for, just for the auto attack resets and to be able to clear Elise's spiders that more efficiently.
You are seeing the build towards Rapid Fire. You can, of course, swap for free in this patch. But in the meantime, it's going to be Ferocity picking up a dragon. Doesn't look like Sentinel too worried about it. They let know more support, and again, are probably not expecting this game to go to 5 dragons. It is rare that the Sentinel games go this far along. So, not too worried about getting the early dragons. Might want to pick up the first one next time it becomes available, but they're probably going to look for map pressure from towers instead of those neutral objectives.
So the first complete items done by the mid laners, it's gonna be an Abyssal Scepter onto the LeBlanc, and they complete Rylai's Crystal Scepter for the brand. That's gonna be huge, because not only do you burn every single time your passive ticks, it applies an extra round of slow. So the moment Cocoa Puffs hits anyone, you are looking for 5 seconds of constantly being slowed from a single ability.
Yeah, and that's actually insane because you have those brand passes, you have the Leanders, as you're saying, just the constant slows are actually really sore. Not so bad now that Swifties have become a thing, but actually it's going to be the engage at the top lane. Sizzle and XJ here just to get Boosh. This time there's no elite to back up, but good flash by Boosh. Actually gets him away from the explosive cask and possibly away from danger. Sizzle trying to follow, but he's able to hook his way out. In the meantime, it looks like Elliot might be caught out. Good for Repel, but that's going to be the TP from Boosh and the Glacial Fisher from Kappa. They're going to have to walk away from this one because it is a 4v3. A good hook though. This should be Kappa going down. Can they continue forward? A good hook there to start. Can they get him? They can't. He's down. But that's going to be the heal used. Kappa just do anything left. Should go down. Elliot gets the kill. Asarat going extremely low as well. Not such a good death sentence this time. Asarat does stay alive, but kills for Sentinel again.
Slight misplay on the side of Ferocity, I believe, because Fiora started the teleport herself, just cancelled it, because I believe Zizzle thought that with the Glacial Fisher, Ferocity's other members should be able to create enough distance not to be caught out, and this is what we've spoken about earlier. If Boost starts a teleport, but you can disengage efficiently, Fiora does not need to follow it up and can just split push all day. Right now, Fiora has lost the teleport, and Ferocity is looking to lose another turret on the bot lane.
Boosh is actually going fairly low here. Has to use the Titan's Rat to save him. Looks like XJ is going to go down again. Brand again by this. Elliot actually getting choked out by Stark, and Ignite's going to burn down slowly on the Gragas, but nothing more. In the meantime, though, we saw the Fiora get the top lane tower, so they didn't get nothing for that trade.
She needs to pressure more, though. The huge question mark on the side of Ferocity is how much Fiora can do with these trades.
He's Kappa caught out again by a 4-man approach. This will be the death approach. Should continue forward. That's going to be the death charge onto Kappa. Actually, not going to go. So this should be 2 kills. Azarat flashes away, but they can still chase this. No mana left for the Corki to finish.
Although Braum went down, he achieved what he came here to do, because he delayed every single recall in the brush. Fiora should be able to capitalize on this, getting tier 2 on the top lane, and what Ferocity needs to do right now is switch the lanes. Send the Braum and the Lucian onto the top lane, have a long lane for the Lucian to chase up even Boosh if necessary, and just Fiora try to pressure the bot lane in exchange.
Yeah, and it was actually good there that they managed to get both towers. Dying was probably not exactly their plan there, so we'll see if Sentinel can use the kills to actually gain back the tower deficit they got there, because it has left a lot of standing gold on the map for Sentinel, which they can group up and take. They just need to do so.
So right now, Ferocity has not switched the lanes yet. They are looking to face Sonic and Muki 2 versus 2 on the bot lane once again, as Boosh has pushed up an entire wave. Of course, Zizzle's teleport is gonna be up much faster than that of Boosh, but once again, can she actually utilize it? Because there, other than the previous 2 options where she had the ability to teleport in, Fiora really shouldn't. She should look for turrets constantly in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hard to find a turret in that top lane, as you're saying, because very hard to push at the inhib turret. It's very easy for Sentinel to collapse on you there, and it is also the Baron side, so you're not actually pressuring a huge part of the map there, because realistically, as the game goes on, Sentinel will want to move around that side anyway, so it just makes it that much easier to get caught out if you do decide to stick around. And it looks like Boosh is going to try chase the tier 1. Fiora has come down. The Dragon's not up for 130, so Sentinel do have to play a little safe here. They're going to be at a numbers disadvantage.
Ferocity, I believe, are a bit late to react, because you really want someone on the top lane to try and hold Boosh or stall Boosh clearing a turret straight up out. And Dragon is going to be spawning in a minute, so if right now you send the Lucian and the Braum top lane, you're going to have straight up members disadvantages for the second Drake of the game. So Ferocity is a bit sloppy in decision making right now.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing the power of Sentinel's combo that says that it is excellent wave tier in that 4-man squad. You have excellent wave tier in the AD carry, mid and top positions, so actually very difficult to siege up against them. Good that they have the Fiora to take the side tower. She has managed to take the tier 1 in the bot lane. Obviously it was already fairly low, but still getting advantages elsewhere. Boosh actually gonna try onto Asarat, but XJ comes around to save him.
So the problem is, Fiora needs to focus on the turrets, but she is the only one right now who can 1v1 Boosh. Boosh has stacked up so much armor already, even if you send the Braum Lucian top lane, I believe he should be able to turn around these engages onto Asered, and Boosh is just a constant threat right now, which is something Fiora should be looking to match, but she has recalled, I believe, for no reason, and is really fairly late to get back into the lane.
Yeah, we see Fiora finally going back to that split push, and it looks like Sentinel for now aren't sending too much to deal with. They're going to send that Corki down there, possibly to wave clear against her. In the meantime, it might be Boosh caught out. Look, actually cancelled by the body slam. Kappa does get the Witcher's Bite on. That should be the slow. That's going to be the concussive blows. And they're going to try get him. The explosive cast actually just knocks him into the wall. Glacial Fissure force as well. Boosh actually going to almost walk away from that. Ultimate after ultimate blown. And this is going to be the first dragon for Sentinel pretty easily.
I don't think there's anything left untouched just to try get Boosh killed. Maybe the culling was the single ultimate still available, but you have used so many resources to get Boosh finally killed, and I believe if he had the depth charge available and just get it onto the Lucian to knock up both Gragas and Braum as well, he would have been able to survive that one as well.
Yeah, surviving a little too long for the amount of resources used, as you're saying, so gotta be a bit of a worry for Ferocity as they look later in the game when realistically the Nautilus will be with his team and you can't afford to blow all those ultimates on him.
So you can tell the name of the game is Split Push for Ferocity because the first item after the jungler item being completed on the side of Gragas is going to be the Banner of Command as well. They should be trying, I believe, to place the Banner of Command on the opposite sides where Fiora is creating pressures so that a single Nautilus with the teleport should not be able to answer both of these lanes' pressures. But right now, Zizroth Portal is being finished or being created on the side of Nautilus as well to try and outmatch these pressures created by the Banner minion.
Yeah, and if you leave the portal under the tower, you can at least ensure Fiora struggles to actually take the towers because she'll struggle to get the minion wave to him. However, as it goes on, we will see that Nautilus struggles to take out minions in a similar fashion, so they'll both be dealing with split pushes, just Nautilus can be more effective in the sense that he can create a split push without actually having to be there, whereas the Banner of Command is only on the Gragas. Fiora has to remain as a split push threat.
Sonic right now has the package available, and combined with a Brand who already has Liandries as well, this is a fairly big threat. But they just can't engage. Their composition is all about disengaging. If it's not the LeBlanc, you're not gonna make picks.
Yeah, we actually see both the top lane and bot lane being pushed by Ferocity here. Good side lane control from Ferocity. The Sentinel have yet to answer. They're sending Sonic up to the top lane, but this should give them mid lane inner pretty easily. Brand is clearing it pretty effectively though. Ferocity might look to the dive if they can.
Ferocity should once again be trying to delay because this is a fairly good trade for Fiora.
Yeah, this is going to be the grand challenge on. They're going to get the heal out, so Zizzle is going to be full health. Stark has made his way down. The depth charge does land onto Zizzle, but he does go down eventually. This time Sentinel on the back of this rotation, and another kill for the Ferocity side. And Sentinel's just too slow to react. Cocopop's going to try chase it up with Elliot. That's going to be the slow one. That's going to be the stun. This could be the kill onto Zizzle. That's going to be him getting away. He's just having to use his flash. That's going to be the Banner minion in the mid. They're going to try force a dive onto Sonic. It doesn't work with a good flash. It does save him, but it should give the mid lane tower.
Both of the summoner spells though had to be used by the Corki just to make sure he gets out of this. And this is the good Glacial Fissure we have been talking about. Brand is fairly immobile. And whoo!
Sonic on the backside with a good combo in. Absorption. That's going to be the Q Mimic, and quick assassination as Stark has been doing.
And Sentinel has been late to rotate both mid and now the bot lane as well. They should be realistically dividing their forces, but the moment Boosh dies, it's like Sentinel is in panic mode. They do not know how to react. Every single tier 2 turret has now fallen. And Ferocity has an over 3.5k gold lead right now. They should start to look pressuring Baron whenever Fiora gets close to threatening the first inhibitor turret of the game, because even if Sentinel shuts down a Baron Nashor attempt, if you manage to crack the base open, if you get the first inhibitor exposed, that's the big win. That's the biggest milestone a Fiora split push can achieve.
And we'll see if they can effectively use the split push. We've seen some of the Division 2 teams struggle to make the split push work. It has, though, even even when it's not done perfectly, it can still work. I believe Ferocity have the perfect setup right now to make it work. Sentinel really need to get a pick to kind of shut that down, or maybe get a T-fight, force an engage with the Nautilus, maybe with the Brand or Elliot on that Elise. Because right now it's Ferocity making all the plays and Sentinel being too slow to rotate.
And Ferocity did a fairly good job of disengaging as well. Kappa plays some really nice Glacial Fissures just to make sure they can get out, and Fiora is constantly split pushing. Sentinel has to engage.
Death Charge onto Afra, he is the wall, but it's actually going to be the TP in, so they have to disengage it. At least they force the TP in their thought. It might be them going down to meet that. Sonic on the backline, that's going to be Sizzle going in, gets the kill. That's going to be everyone healing up off Sizzle. That's actually all going so low, but no one going down except for Boosh there. As they're trying to back off, everyone's so slow right now. Start looking for another pick. It's actually going to be X-Day against the slow. Nova forced to flash over the wall. Ferocity just seems to not want to die. Everyone going so low, it's going to be difficult to continue to force this for Ferocity, but in the meantime, they have those banner minions and they have chunked out Sentinel.
And this is all they need. Coco Pops is forced to go back to the base, and I believe the key factor in this entire team fight on the side of Ferocity was Braum managing to use Unbreakable to stop Coco Pops' ultimate. The moment that ultimate was stopped and it doesn't get to bounce between melee range characters, you lose about 40% of damage output in a team fight, whereas Sentinel is right now trying to re-engage this fight after they have regenerated, not allowing the members of Ferocity to get back, but this is the disengage we've been talking about. Combine Glacial Fissure with the ultimate of Gragas. Ferocity has every means necessary to just push away the entire combo of Sentinel. Right now what they should be looking to is stopping this Baron attempt though.
Yeah, and we've seen Sentinel basically constantly looking for fights because they really want to force an engage. That's generally been their playstyle, is to try to force bad positioning mistakes and punish them. But they can't do that because Ferocity have been disengaging so well. What Sentinel are doing well though is they have stopped the pressure with the portal, and they're trying to use that to take the Baron. They actually do so successfully, and they're going to try to get another kill with the depth charge. They might actually just leave Boosh caught out. Stark jump straight back over. That's the Ethereal Chain. Sizzle should be able to leave stuff fairly quickly. The rest of Ferocity there as well. It's going to be a nice pickup for them, but it's the inhib down for Ferocity, the Baron going over to Sentinel. Sentinel still on the back foot here.
I believe the key portion of this Baron pickup on the side of Sentinel is finally being able to deal with Fiora's split push efficiently. Because of the reduced recall timers, you should be able to do a fight and then send one or two members fairly quickly back to the base to just hold the Fiora. The problem on the side of Sentinel is, even though they have the Baron Nashor with their mid inhibitor open, mid lane is the only lane they can be looking right now to try and push back. And I believe with the amount of wave clear that LeBlanc, Gragas and Lucian combined can offer, they should not be able to use this Nashor to take tier 2 unless they lose another inhibitor turret in exchange in the Fiora split push.
And it's likely that we're just going to see Sentinel attempt to force another fight while they still have the Baron and then try to take something. But again, Ferocity know this. They've been playing this kind of strategy and just been waiting to be engaged on and then disengage immediately using that Braum, using that Gragas. And you can see that when they're not forced to engage like they were in the early game, Ferocity are excellently pulling back these fights.
And not only pulling back efficiently, once again, I have to shout out or give a shout out to Kappa for timing the Unbreakable so perfectly, because generally you want to block as many spells as possible, but the key thing happens when you get to block the first spell when you turn on Unbreakable, and being able to just focus so much on Coco Pops' ultimate to negate it completely, it was the big thing in the last teamfight. Fiora is creating the pressure already, so Sonic has kind of wasted the package that's not going to be available. They have to get a turret or react somehow because Boosh has no teleport.
Yeah, and we were discussing how this top lane matchup could be a real struggle, and it has proved to be so. Again, that's going to be the ultimate stop. As you mentioned, by the Unbreakable, it's going to be the hook in by Boosh, but they're really struggling to force the depth charge used, but there's so much distance put between Sentinel and Ferocity. Sentinel are going to get the tower for it, but they can't force much more. They have the portal in that lane, and We'll see if they can try for more. They're gonna get the hook on Kappa, but he doesn't struggle to get away. He'll be able to do that behind you, but it's sort of double hook. He's stuck in. The Glacial Fisher again used Ecstasy and the Explosive Pass. Now still seeing by himself, almost going down, and he could still go down. Stark's gonna catch up, and Sizzle is in the bot lane, that you deal with him, and not quite able to finish off that combo. And Sizzle almost killed by Coco Pops here. Actually gets the stroke. That's going to be the grand challenge onto Coco Pops. Coco Pops should go down here. Excellently played by Sizzle. Immediately taking that kill and should take the inhibitor on top of it. They are going to stop him now. Maybe Sonic can pick up the kill. He's going to TP out though, and plenty of time. Saves his life, but doesn't end up losing his TP.
I believe this was a fairly big... Oh, that's going to be a pickup on the side of LeBlanc. In the meantime, I believe this was a fairly big misplay on the side of Fiora. Like, don't get me wrong, Sizzle played it perfectly. At the moment you are facing a Brand 1v1, the only spell you're looking to block is the stun, and then you can re-engage, especially with the Grand Challenge available. But right after that, Fiora has already secured the inhibitor turret, which is the key thing she is looking for. One of the inhibitors is still down in the mid lane, so just walking back into the enemy base made sure Fiora loses the teleport, and it's just such a huge pressure off of the map right now for Sentinel not to be afraid of Fiora getting back here too fast.
Yeah, I think the big thing, you look at the differences in kill death ratios on the side of any of these people. You have to look at Booch right now. 2-6-2 has not been able to get the engages off, and every time he tries to force one has been punished by Ferocity as they disengage, and then it's suddenly been Sentinel left with nothing to do, and they have to run away from what engage they were trying to force, and then they start losing objectives because they have that split push threat against them. What do you think Sentinel need to do right now?
I believe the key thing you try to do is not engage on once, like the entire Sentinel composition is built up around locking down a single target. The problem is, to do so, you have to send skill shots from the Brand and from the Elise in the form of the Cocoon and the Fireball to try and lock someone in place, and Kappa has every spell available to just try and block these engages if Sentinel are actually grouped on one person. So what they should be looking to do, I believe, is deal AoE damage. Sentinel has to wait until Corki has another package available and finally use a package offensively, because that has not happened this game so far. They need to be able to chunk more than 30% off of Ferocity with the engage they have done, because Kappa's Unbreakable has just denied every engage so far.
Yeah, and we've seen those Pyroclasms stopped by the Unbreakable pretty much every time, which is huge AoE damage immediately negated. I mean, it is an ultimate that he's completely going to waste, and now it's two open inhibs for Ferocity. They need to group up and try force this, send that Fiora into the split push, and you can see they're waiting for Zizzle to get in position, and in the meantime they're hanging around the Baron, going to see if anyone mispositions. They might try fight mid, don't think they should, and it's going to be Sentinel actually getting position in here. Gonna go for the fight here. They might try find something. That's gonna be Witch's Bite onto Elliot, and again it's the disengage, but they are still the wrong side of this. Stark maybe looking for a pick on the other side of this fight. Sonic and Coco Pops are grouped up. Stark's just gonna get away though, and it's gonna be Sentinel again, not find the engage, but they actually do find the pick onto Stark, and that's gonna be him immediately going down. Can Sentinel get more of this? 55 seconds to Baron. They'd have to make a push, but it's Zizzle who's actually pushing here. Could get the inhib before they get there in time. Only the Elise there thus far. If you get Baron on the way, Zizzle should be able to finish this. Might end up going down for it. And actually going to get combo. That's the QSS. Might be able to get him out there. You saw the flash. Scratch challenge onto Elliot. Putting out a lot of damage. They're going to have to use the exhaust on him. That's 4 members on top of him right now. And the scratch challenge actually persisted. Repel almost gets the kill, almost rips 1 for 1, almost gets out. That's the stretch line onto him to finish, but so much time wasted just to stop this split push, and she still gets the inhib, still almost trades 1 for 1.
27 seconds. That's how long it took for 4 members of Sentinel to take down Zizzle right now, and this is the huge thing when you're playing Fiora. This is all about stalling. Never mind LeBlanc made a positional mistake without having the proper vision. Of course, she got caught out, but Ferocity, I believe, did the right thing, trying to stall Sentinel in their own jungle so Fiora can be efficient. She still has 30 seconds to respawn, but she will have the teleport available. I don't believe Ferocity can stop this Baron measure.
I don't think they want to either, because Sonic is still sitting that package. Should go out fairly shortly. XJ not in position to steal. They are just going to try giving away an attempted steal by Kappa. Sonic actually ends up securing the Baron, so not the cleanest of smites, but Sentinel still get it. Continue to this fight. They're going to look for it with the package. No, he's in a completely almost into Sonic goes straight down, and that's going to be the exposed cast knocking away the carries. Just again left to some flows coming through, and it's going to be the
Teleport.
And actually straight up to actually stop any more going down. I don't think it matters. He's going to continue to chase onto Muki, and Muki's going to try to run away, but that's the wrong way. That'll get her caught out again, and then it's going to be Pokemon on the other side, getting caught out by Acerad. That's a good QSS though. That gets Acerad the kill, and now it's Elliot going to be the next target. Muki should be going down very shortly. This is going to take a little while longer because of course Expression has got that little bit of tankiness, but again, you see Acerad, XJ, and Stark, they're all in that mid lane. They could end the game right here. Acerad tries to combo Elliot, and his body slap does just get it. The burn on that red one isn't a big out, even with the repel. That's going to be the ace. That should be the game for Ferocity.
Mistakes on top of each other. I believe Zizzle should be the one winning this game using the split push, but rarely do you see a Fiora-reliant matchup ending with Fiora actually teleporting into a team fight, getting the flank, and just securing all those kills. Sentinel once again had the package available. They tried to use it offensively, first time in the game, but LeBlanc is the sneakiest of all of these targets. So Sonic tries to jump in, does not reach the LeBlanc, tries to Valkyrie forward, does not work out because of the improper vision, and then what's gonna end up happening is Corki just goes down immediately. You have lost about 40% of your damage output. You cannot follow it up anymore. The moment Sentinel saw the teleport coming in, they left Bush alone completely, and once again, I have to just commend Gragas on using the ultimate, because that's what got Bush separated from the others. Never mind Corki going down, the moment Sentinel could have followed up the engage of Bush, everyone just went flying backwards, Bush goes down, and one by one Sentinel just couldn't deal with this. And I'm looking forward to see Fiora bans constantly in the remainder of this series, otherwise Ferocity is way too comfortable playing this composition.
A well-deserved win for Ferocity there. We are going to finish that game one. We are going to head into game two as soon as possible. And an interesting start to this series so far. We'll see you then.